Well, hello everyone. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. We're here at Center Court. We have four great schools to present to you, all with full-time residential MBA programs, and I'm sure other options as well. We're going to get right to it, but let me introduce first our representatives from each of the schools. From Kennesaw State in Georgia, we have Stacy Schutte, the admissions and advising coordinator for their MBA program. From UMass Isenberg, we have Victoria Quill, who's recruitment and CRM project manager. From Johns Hopkins University Carey School, we have Jen Howder, who's director of recruitment. And finally, from Baruch Zicklin in New York City, we have Simon Harley, the Assistant Dean of Graduate Enrollment. Thank you for attending. Welcome to all of you. So we're going to be talking about the pathway to success with MBA admissions. And I want to sort of start off with a basic general introduction about each of the schools and their MBA programs. So Jen, let's start with you at the Carey School in Baltimore.
Thanks so much, John. So as John mentioned, my name is Jen Howder. I am the Director of Admissions for our full-time programs here at the Carey School in Baltimore, Maryland, right here in the Baltimore Harbor, right on the water. It's beautiful here. But I would like to just share a little bit about the Carey full-time MBA program. We are a relatively small program. Our cohort each year is approximately 75 students. And one of the things about Carey that we value the most, if you go to our website, you'll see that we have these four main values. But one of the things that I'll talk more about today in sharing about Carey is our commitment to unwavering humanity, and really the approach that our school takes through the curriculum, through our experiential learning opportunities. Everything is done with this idea in mind of really how we can commit to business with humanity in mind. So when we're talking about our admissions philosophy, our curriculum, the student experience, it all ties back to those core values. So I'm excited to be here. And I will turn it over to Stacy.
Yeah, and before you do that, Jen, I will say this, in terms of healthcare management and the business of health, Carey has made that a real specialty. And obviously that's a function of the great medical school at Johns Hopkins. And I'm sure we're going to be getting into that. And we've got a lot of that on our website, and you can look that up. So Stacy, tell us about Kennesaw State.
Yes, thank you all so much. So I am very happy to talk about Kennesaw State today. For those of you that don't know, we are in Northwest Metro Atlanta area, and we are kind of I wouldn't call us an underdog. We're just a surprisingly large university here in Atlanta. We started off as a little commuter college, and just within the last 20 years, we've morphed, and now we are an R2 research institute with over 45,000 students. So it's been incredible to be a part of that growth. With regards to our MBA programs, I actually am the admissions advising coordinator for two of the three that we offer here. So we do have our evening MBA program and our web MBA program, which is what I primarily work with. And then we also have a wonderful executive MBA program. When it comes to these programs, we try to make sure our students are going after whichever one is the best fit for them. They each offer flexibility in their own ways and a wonderful value in their own ways. And a really exceptional value is what we focus on for our students. And also making sure that we are developing those skills in our students so they can be a valuable member of the Atlanta area in whatever field they are in. So we're excited to be here today.
How large are the three different programs, Stacy?
All different sizes. So our evening MBA comes in at about 400, roughly 400 students right now. Our web currently has about 170 with cohorts of about 40 to 45 every semester that we accept. And then our executive usually has between 30 and 50. They only accept in certain semesters. So a wide range, but our classes are small. So that's what we love to focus on that as well. While the evening MBA is big, you get a small classroom feel as well.
Yeah, and the 400 in the evening program is full enrollment, right? Not
Yes, full enrollment. So that
exactly.
includes the new ones and then the ones that have been here for a little while who are taking their time, which is great.
Indeed. Okay.
Mhm.
Victoria, UMass Isenberg, you have a highly rated online MBA program, I know, and you have actually a very generous full-time MBA program.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, John. My name is Victoria. I'm a recruitment and CRM project manager here in Isenberg grad programs. I'm also an Isenberg undergraduate alum, and I'm a current online MBA student in addition to working full-time here at Isenberg. So I have a lot of Isenberg and UMass pride. UMass Amherst is nestled among a thriving multicultural community in the scenic Pioneer Valley of Western Mass. We're about an hour and 45 minutes from Boston, about 3 hours from New York City, but we're definitely a rural college town community. That being said, a lot of our students do take advantage of, the Boston and New York cities, but definitely more so a college town. Isenberg has been awarding MBAs since 1954, so 70 years of on-campus MBA programs. Our online MBA program has been around for about 20 years or so. Both are AACSB accredited and follow the same high-quality curriculum. Obviously, we're going to be talking more a bit later about the MBA program on campus. For all of our programs, we're really committed to providing students with the education and experiences that will make them effective, inclusive, and change agents in their world. You'll notice a heavy emphasis on experiential learning throughout our on-campus MBA program, which we can get into later during the panel. The on-campus program itself is very close-knit. We only accept about 40 students each fall semester for our MBA program, so about 80 students at any given time who are associated with our MBA program here on campus. We do have over 2,000 students enrolled in our online or on-campus programs, so they are part of a larger graduate student population, but the MBA program itself is quite close-knit. So that's a quick intro to Isenberg MBA, and I look forward to chatting more.
And while Victoria says it's a rural campus, it's a beautiful campus in a quintessential college town, Amherst. I know this place very well because I have a daughter who has both her undergraduate and master's degrees from UMass in Amherst. So, and then we're going to go right to the heart of New York City, a real urban experience at Baruch. Simon Harley.
Yeah, hello everyone. Yeah, we're definitely not rural. We're right in the heart of New York City in downtown Manhattan, in the Gramercy Park neighborhood, very well connected by subway, very easy to get to if from around New York as well. And so the Zicklin School of Business is part of Baruch College, which is, a large college with about 20,000 students total. And that itself is part of the City University of New York system. We consider ourselves their flagship business school. And we've been around a long time, about just over 100 years under various different names. We are a public business school really for New York City. And so with that comes a commitment to providing high value, affordable graduate programs. One thing we're really proud of was last year our full-time MBA program, which is relatively small, but it was ranked the #1 full-time MBA program in the United States for return on investment. So that's based on, a methodology involving, graduating salaries versus the cost of education, but it still reflects, I think, the kind of value you can get from doing our MBAs here. We offer 3 different MBAs. We've got the full-time MBA. We have a flexible evening MBA program that has some online and hybrid options. And then as of last year, we now have a fully online MBA that just started last fall. And it's pretty popular. Some recent things, our MBA underwent a revamp of its curriculum last year, and as a result, we have infused a lot more STEM-related course content into our classes, data science and data analytics, which means we're now a STEM-designated full-time MBA program. And we're a large school, and we have other programs too. We have more than 2,500 graduate students pursuing a whole range of programs, not just MBA, but 10 specialized master's programs in lots of different areas too.
And Simon, when I think of Baruch, and having lived in New York City myself for a number of years and worked there for most of my life, I have to say, you're at the center of the universe in a way in New York City with tremendous assets in terms of businesses all over the place. But when I think of Baruch, I often think of social mobility because we've measured social mobility, and Baruch is way at the top of the charts in helping people move through, the economic ladders of life and success. Now, I wonder, Simon, if you could give us a sense of how do you choose among these programs? How do you decide when to go online, when to go full time, when to do, an evening program? I mean, that is often a complicated decision for many people.
I mean, you mentioned the social mobility. I mean, yes, Baruch College is #1 for social mobility in the country, but that really relates to our undergraduate programs. Many of the undergraduate students coming in, they are first generation students, many of them. I think for our graduate programs, we have a much broader kind of population of students. But the question, about how do you choose a program, as we're all finding in business schools, is really about, what are your preferences in terms of your work-life balance, in terms of the kind of work you're doing. Is it hybrid? Are you in the office or, fully online? And we're seeing students really trying to make decisions that allow them to, have a work-life balance, pursue their career ambitions at the same time around a kind of flexible schedule. For some folks, a full-time MBA still makes a lot of sense. We have seen a really big uptick in our applications for our full-time MBA program this year. I'm sure we're not alone. So that indicates that there are a lot, including from US-based, New York-based students too. So some are going back to a more traditional model.
Well, that's interesting. Jen, are you seeing a similar trend at Carey?
Yes, I think that there's definitely still a large interest for the full-time MBA program. We do have a flex version as well, which is offered online part-time. Same curriculum as our full-time MBA, but offering the flexibility that you are virtual, you can do synchronous or asynchronous. But yes, the interest is definitely still there for the full-time MBA. We've seen an increase in our application numbers. From around the globe, different populations are continuing to grow. And I think that just goes with, the climate of business is changing. And I think that we are staying on top of it and, changing the curriculum so that we are ready and, for whatever comes next with business, we're right at the forefront of it. And we are adding to our curriculum. We are adding certificate programs, lots of different options to just stay on top of the changing landscape of business.
Now, Jen, earlier you mentioned the focus on sort of a humanity approach, which has really been a hallmark of the school ever since it was founded. And I believe that Carey, among these 4 schools, this is the newest business school. Yes. But you're also really differentiating on the business of health. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about that, because I kind of think that healthcare is the new frontier for MBAs in particular. I think healthcare over the forthcoming years is going to be as important as technology.
Right. So I'm so glad you mentioned that. And we are definitely at the forefront of the business of health. I think if you mention, Johns Hopkins to anyone around the globe, probably the first thing that they're going to think of is our hospital system and our med school. And being within the Johns Hopkins ecosystem, we have so much access directly to the med school, to the hospital system, but also within, the Bloomberg School of Public Health here. We have the Whiting School of Engineering, so much of the technology of healthcare. And the dual degree programs that we offer with the MBA, we see so much of that, and the activities, the experiential learning that our students are able to take part of. For instance, we have a healthcare startup incubator called Hexite that you can take advantage of. We have our Johns Hopkins technology ventures that really partner closely with the healthcare landscape. So about 1/3 of our full-time MBA class is actually part of the dual degree program with the MPH, the School of Public Health. So you definitely see a lot of influence there within the full-time MBA cohort. But just every aspect of healthcare touches business in a different way. So whether that's within finance or the analytics or the policy side of things, there's ways for all of our students to have a hand in that and to really go out and put that into practice, being within the Johns Hopkins ecosystem.
Indeed. Yeah. And this is really going to be a very big field for business students in the future, and already is really exploding. Now, Victoria, at UMass, one of the things I'd like you to talk a little bit about is the success of your online program. It's long been highly rated. It's your largest program. It is, in fact, one of the largest online MBAs in the world. What do you attribute the success to that program?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So the online program was designed about 20 years ago now to mirror our on-campus MBA program. It's the same exact curriculum taught by almost all the same professors, just with this online flexible format. So as Simon was saying earlier, our prospective students are really looking for a program that best aligns with their professional, with their career goals. Some students aren't looking for that traditional program. There definitely are still some that are, but many of our students are opting to do an 100% online program, not putting their career on hold, and doing the program within either 2 years or taking up to 4 years to complete the program. We don't require students to go through, a lock set curriculum schedule. You really get to pick and choose how many classes you take each semester. So I think really this, going back to your question, this idea of flexibility, but yet not sacrificing a high quality program is really what is contributing to our success in the MBA program online. I'll also add that we're continuing to add different focus areas to our online program. So we do have, I believe it's 5 focus areas at this time. So business analytics, marketing, healthcare administration, finance, sports marketing, and then soon to come, hopefully, is project management as well.
Ah, right.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who may be new to this whole area, this landscape of business education, and MBA degrees or graduate education, I want to just point out, the advantage of online. Some of it is obvious and some of it is less obvious, but the most obvious thing is that you can continue to hold your job, pull down a paycheck, not give that up, and at the same time use what you're learning in the class immediately at work, which is really helpful, and bring challenges that you have at work into the class to share with your classmates and your professors to help get to a solution. I think the other advantage of an online program is that you can spread it out. As Victoria said, you can take 2 years, which is the shortest, or at UMass Isenberg up to 4 years. What that allows you to do is, if your employer actually will give you a tuition subsidy, you could stretch it out so that in each of the years, more of the tuition would be covered by your employer, which is a real advantage as well. Now, at Kennesaw State, Stacy, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about experiential learning and what you're doing in that area. And we're going to have each of you talk a little bit about this, because when you look at what's happening in business education, particularly over the last 10 years, experiential learning, meaning learning by doing as opposed to learning by absorbing, has become a very big and important part of business education.
Absolutely. So one of the best things that we love to brag on our faculty here, they not only are doing wonderful research, but they have so many connections to wonderful companies and organizations here in the Atlanta area. Being in Northwest Atlanta, people can pop right up on 75 and get here very quickly. So there's a lot of opportunities for experiential learning. I know specifically in many of our marketing courses, our students are working within certain industries to do simulations and to work one-on-one with actual issues that are coming up in different companies. I also know that some of our students are partnering with faculty on research papers, actually experiencing and doing research. I know that in our FinTech program, also with our concentration in FinTech, we also have a master's in FinTech, which is wonderful, but we also do have a concentration in FinTech. Our students are doing hands-on experiential learning within FinTech industries. So our faculty are making sure this is a big part of our students' learning experience so they can actually apply what they are learning. And it's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Simon, what about at Baruch? Is there a lot of experiential learning in the programs?
Yeah, so our MBA program has a capstone, business consulting capstone, and that is all about experiential learning. Students are going in with other students as a team to work on real problems for a company, usually in New York, sometimes further afield. And so it's a 5-month project where they're also learning a lot about consulting skills too. They're getting coaching from our director of consulting, who previously worked as a consultant. And so the idea is they're really putting into practice all those skills that they've been learning during the MBA and putting them into practice.
Can you give us an example of one of those projects? Like with what kind of company and what was the challenge the team of students had to solve?
Yeah, I mean they vary so much, and some are for kind of small businesses too, as well as your Fortune 500s. There was one interesting one where they were working on helping it was a microbrewery in New Jersey across the river, helping it scale up because they were having real challenges with doing that. They were kind of popular in their local area, and they wanted to scale up to have wider distribution. And so it's a very sort of nuts and bolts kind of project where students went in to help them with that whole process. So it was kind of more like an entrepreneurial flavored project. Yeah, so that's one of many different. I mean, they've been in all sorts of industries, marketing, healthcare, and so on.
Great. And at Carey, Jen, does experiential learning play a role in your MBA program?
Yes, absolutely. And when we redid the curriculum just a few years ago in 2021, we actually received an innovation award for the way that we integrate experiential learning directly into the curriculum. So several of our core foundational courses are experiential learning. There's not a lot of lecture-based classes. A lot of what we are doing is getting you out directly into the community, partnering with businesses. All of our first-year students, for instance, right now, they are taking part of our innovation field project. So they are going out with both domestic and international companies, solving real-time problems for those companies. And while you do have the courses in the curriculum, there are some extra activities that you can absolutely add on. We do have, global immersion, leadership development courses, but there's so much that's directly integrated right into the curriculum.
Great. And Victoria, I'll give you your say at UMass Isenberg on experiential learning.
Absolutely. That's a really important part of our on-campus MBA program. I feel as though there's two big highlights here to reference, which is our fellowship opportunity. Any student who is accepted into our on-campus MBA program is awarded a fully funded fellowship in return for a tuition waiver, that financial support. MBA fellows are assigned a strategic project across campus. So they're, putting what they're learning in their classroom towards a strategic project that's helping the university as a whole. So they're working about 10 hours a week while doing their MBA program. The second portion is the integrated practicum, which is their second semester. Part of their grade for all of their courses that they're taking in their second semester is also this consulting project that they're doing for a nonprofit or for-profit business here in the Valley. So they're, putting theory into practice with their peers and helping some of the businesses on their strategic efforts.
Yes, and if you want to know why I earlier described the full-time MBA program at UMass as generous in relationship to your fellowship program, where literally if you sign up for that and you do your 10 hours a week, you basically don't have to pay tuition, which is pretty unusual. Now, there's some things that are happening in business education more recently that I think portend a major trends, and that would be emphasis on data analytics, on sustainability, the new emphasis on artificial intelligence, and an old emphasis that's been nurtured over a number of decades, but really is maybe even more significant now than ever before, entrepreneurship. So on these four different trends, I wonder if you might get us a little up to date on how they've affected your programming at your school. Stacy, let's start with you.
Absolutely. So those trends have definitely influenced our program as a whole and our curriculum. We actually have a certificate in business intelligence that is really starting to take off. That can be built into our evening MBA program, which we are very excited about. It's heavy on the quantitative skills, but those are skills that are going to be needed in the future. And so we love that we have that opportunity for our students. In regards to entrepreneurship, we are launching a new entrepreneurship concentration this fall. So we are on that trend, and we are happy to help all those entrepreneurs, especially in the Atlanta area. We have those big industries, but we can't ignore those entrepreneurs. So we are here to help them as well. And then AI. Our new director, Renee Rabeau, she is very excited about AI, which we love because she is making sure our faculty, our staff, our students are learning what they need to learn, embracing AI because it is our future. And so that is one of her big goals. So we are trying to stay on top of those trends and are excited to embrace those trends as well.
Great. Simon, where is Baruch on sustainability, artificial intelligence, data analytics, and entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I mentioned last year that we had a 1-year kind of review of our MBA curriculum to infuse more data analytics into it, make it a STEM designated program, and that's always been the goal. We have a very strong IT department here that has a master's in business analytics, master's in information systems. So a lot of that coursework, a lot of those classes can be taken by our MBA students through electives that they take. About 15 credits of their MBA can be electives, and so many MBA students choose to take those and kind of specialize in that area. There are some new courses being developed that focus on AI as well. And then in terms of entrepreneurship, we have a center of excellence for entrepreneurship here at Baruch College called the Field Center. It's actually funded by New York City to be a hub for entrepreneurship. And our students take full advantage of that. They can be fellows in the Entrepreneurship Center. And if they have their own ideas, of course, they can take full advantage of the support there from experts in not just starting businesses, but expanding existing businesses. And they can get funding from the CUNY Startup Fund as well. And one or two have taken advantage of that.
Yeah, that's great. Jen, how about Carey on these four trends?
Sure. So I mentioned with our experiential learning, one of the courses that I'll highlight is our big data consulting project. So definitely tapping right into the data analytics. This is another way that we partner with, local companies. We give them a current business challenge and the data set for analysis, and the students will work in teams to analyze that data, give the managerial insights, and use those findings to create some creative solutions to those. In terms of the entrepreneurship, I mentioned John Hopkins Technology Ventures, or JHTV. Within that, in terms of entrepreneurship, we have something known as the Commercialization Academy. This actually offers 2-year paid fellowships for those who are interested in technology and entrepreneurship. So that's another way that you can, really expand your career horizons if you're looking for entrepreneurship. And then in terms of AI, we currently have several certificates, and some of our specialized master's programs are getting updated for the coming year to include those, but that also is an important aspect of our full-time MBA curriculum as well. And we'll be adding some coursework to keep with those growing trends as well.
Great. Victoria?
Sure. Yeah, all 4 of those are definitely top of mind when considering our on-campus MBA program. I'll first start by sharing our business analytics efforts. We do have a specialized master's in MS in business analytics. We recently added on a dual degree for MBA, MS, and business analytics, which has been very popular, particularly for our international population because it's STEM designated, giving them that additional extension here. We have always had a focus in business analytics, which is, I would say, the most popular focus area at this time. So business analytics is definitely ingrained into our curriculum, as is entrepreneurship. We do have a focus in management and entrepreneurship. UMass Amherst has a fantastic center for entrepreneurship, the Berthium Center for Entrepreneurship, that offers support to students who are looking to maybe pitch an idea, start their own business. They offer a Shark Tank Innovation Challenge every year. So some of our students have participated in that. I mentioned earlier our fellowship opportunity where students are partnering with a different campus department to help with strategic initiatives. Some of our fellows are placed in the Berthium Center for Entrepreneurship. And then the other location where a lot of our fellows are going is the integrated, the Institute for Applied Life Sciences, which is dedicated to working with startups. So they are helping to consult individuals who are thinking about starting a business. So that's, business analytics, entrepreneurship are definitely ingrained into our curriculum. Artificial intelligence, we're really starting to sprinkle in and design some more courses. We offer a couple electives for artificial intelligence. And then for sustainability, one of Isenberg's main pillars is creating global citizens. And one of those ways in which we do that is incorporating in a corporate social responsibility, diversity, equity, inclusion, 1-credit speaker series for all of our MBA students. So they're required to do that throughout their curriculum. And then a lot of the professors are incorporating some CSR concepts into their core curriculum.
Great. That's a great overview. And I just want to also remind people who are watching this live that we will have chat sessions with UMass Isenberg and Baruch Zicklin following this session, which is 45 minutes long. So we've got 15 minutes more to go. And I want to ask, my favorite question that I pose to students when I meet with them on campus. And I like to go to a bar, have a drink, and say, hey, what are the 3 things about the MBA program that you most enjoyed that will endure with you for a lifetime? So long after you graduate, these are 3 things that you'll really remember most about the experience you've had at the school. What would they tell me at Kennesaw State?
Well, so in thinking about this question, I go right back to our alumni who have told us these things. So coming from our alumni,
Great.
the first thing that we love to hear all the time is that it provided them with a curriculum that allowed them to grow, not just after they completed their MBA, but while they were in their MBA. They actually were applying what they were learning, and maybe even a lot of them getting promotions within their MBA program, not just after they got those 3 letters next to their name. So that is one thing we love to highlight, and we love to hear from our alumni, and that we do hear quite often. And we love highlighting those promotions. We also love to hear exceptional value. Like I said, that is one of our colleges and our MBA programs' core values, is that we are providing an exceptional classroom, whether it's online or in person experience for our students, but at a very, very great value for them. One that allows them flexibility and affordability as well. So those 3 things, I think, is what most of our alumni are saying, at least to me. So I'd love to hear that.
Great. Well, Victoria, what would the MBA candidates at Isenberg tell me?
Sure. I would kind of mention the same thing that Stacy just shared, sorry, regarding an exceptional return on your investment, right? Coming in and doing a fully funded degree. Our students are walking away and securing jobs without a lot of debt, not putting their finances on hold. So that fellowship, right, giving them valuable hands-on work experience, resume building skills, while not making them worry about their finances. That's really something we hear about a lot. The high level of support and mentorship from faculty and staff, because our student cohort is quite small. Students do get to know their faculty really well. They get to know their advisors. And this also spans to our career support too, which is, I would say, the third thing that we hear the most about, that high level of career support that they receive, even before they come to campus for their first classes. They are participating in a leadership development program. They do a couple days here in Amherst, and then we shuttle them out to Boston, where they get to network with alums and different industry representatives. So that high level of support and mentorship from faculty, a robust career and professional development program that begins before classes even begin, and then the fellowship opportunity are really those three key factors.
Terrific. And Jen, if I were to go to the bar overlooking the harbor in Baltimore and sit down with your students, what would they tell me about the Carey School?
Sure. So I think it also comes back to the network in 2 regards. So one, I mentioned that we have a relatively small class size for the full-time MBA. So you're really getting to know your peers. The way that we craft the class is very intentional, so that we have diverse populations from all over the globe, all over, different industries, different walks of life. So you really are establishing these strong connections, but you also have the access to the entire Johns Hopkins ecosystem. And as we've mentioned, that really plays a significant role with the business of health and the ties that we have to the other graduate programs here at Johns Hopkins. But also, some others have mentioned the level of support that you're receiving. So within the full-time MBA program, you have several different advisors. You have an academic advisor, you have a career advisor, you have an academic program manager who kind of oversees all of those different areas, as well as, the student health and student wellness side of things, which is so important, as well as an academic program director who is a faculty member from within the full-time program. So lots of different people that are, right there working with you from day one. I will highlight the career team, for example. As soon as you enroll in the full-time MBA program, you are connected with a dedicated career advisor. There's 3 career advisors for the group of full-time MBAs. So really they're working with about 20 to 25 students each, really personalized attention. And like I said, that starts day one in the spring that you enroll. You have them the entire summer leading up. They can help you transition out of your current role and get you thinking about next steps and how you can plan accordingly for the full-time program.
So you give everyone a sort of a personal board of advisors in a way.
We do. Years ago, I used to joke that it wasn't just Taylor Swift that had like a little posse of people, that we also have. Posse is not the right word. That is showing my age so much. But yes, you also are going to have your own group of advisors right there behind you.
Simon, Baruch's 3 things.
I mean, a lot of the things already mentioned kind of, yeah, also apply to our students. I think if you were asking a alumni a couple of years out, you know, I mean, it's with our full-time MBA, it's definitely going to be the kind of supportive environment they were in, you know, and actually the friendships that they develop with some of their classmates, right?
Sure.
Because spending 2 years together, they get to know each other really well, and some friendships, you know, last beyond the time in our school, and they can be genuine friendships. This is not just about, you know, oh, I want to get a job in the company that you work at or whatever. So I think that kind of developing your friendships that then become your support network, not just during the MBA, but then after the MBA, I think is something our full-time MBA students would definitely talk about. And also, you know, careers are already mentioned, but yeah, we have a very supportive graduate career management center that provides services for life. So even after you've gone out the door, you may be 2 or 3, 4 years out and got to the position where, you know, you're doing well, you've got that kind of first job you wanted to get after your MBA, and you're thinking about your next step. Maybe it's just to try and negotiate yourself a salary raise, you know, or something like that. And you can come, you know, still connect with our career center to get some guidance about how to do that.
Right. That's great. One of the things I'd love to explore before we leave is how do you assess a candidate? Obviously, all of your schools, you know, admit but also reject candidates. And I wonder, you know, beyond academic credentials and test scores, if you mandate them, what are you looking for in an ideal applicant? Simon, let's start with you.
Well, I think the first thing I would say is we don't really have an ideal candidate. Candidates come from so many different backgrounds, geographically, in terms of where they are in their career. Some are very early on. We do require at least 2 years work experience, but some have a lot more than that, and the average is about 5 to 6 years work experience. So we try to develop a selection sort of method that, you know, is broad-minded, doesn't just look at GPA or GMAT. If it's, you know, we do have a waiver policy for that, but you know, and beyond the essays, we do interview candidates for a full-time MBA. And it's really just to be broad-minded and about the different kind of experiences people have had, and not to have a kind of cookie-cutter approach to admitting candidates. Well, our approach is to be holistic and also look for reasons actually to admit people rather than looking for reasons to deny them.
Mm-hmm. Who should apply for a waiver of a GMAT or a GRE test?
So for the full-time MBA, we have a policy that if you have above a 3.3 GPA from your bachelor's degree, we will waive GMAT GRE for you.
Right, great. Jen, give us a little sense of your admissions policies.
Sure. So as I shared at the very beginning of the presentation, I think it really comes back most to our core values. While we do certainly assess the GPA, the, you know, GMAT or GRE if you're required to take it, all of that is to ensure that you can handle the academic rigor of the program. But what we're really looking for, my job looking at your letters of recommendation, your essays, your interviews, is finding that common thread of students who are interested in bettering society through the lens of business. And I will share that this morning I was on an admitted student webinar. We just admitted students to our round 2. And every student who spoke in their introduction, in some way, it all just connected back to this idea. And it was so refreshing to see. And I think that within this Zoom chat, they could start to see that they were in the right place because, you know, business, we oftentimes think, you know, finance, making money, you know, doing it for yourself, but there is such a different aspect to business that we really try to tap into here at Carey. And I think we've done a lovely job of crafting the class around that. And I think that you can see that in our various cohorts over time. As you meet our current students, you meet our alumni, they've done phenomenal things so far in life. And we, you know, see that in their application. And we want to bring them here to Carey to, you know, further foster that. They're with like-minded, you know, peers and a network, and they'll continue to go out. And they really are, I do believe, going to change the world through business.
Great. Victoria, your thoughts on who should apply to Isenberg and what they should keep in mind?
For candidates with that drive to achieve and cooperative spirit, because our program does emphasize experiential learning, collaborating with your peers. We want students to be team players. Similar to, what Simon was mentioning, we do provide a holistic approach when reviewing our applicants. We do require at least 3 years of work experience when considering applicants into our program, but the average is around 8 years. We're typically accepting students from, a variety of different backgrounds, but looking for around like a 30% international mark. We do want to still keep, our domestic population pretty strong and have about a 30% international population. Again, similar to what Simon was mentioning, while we do strongly encourage applicants to take the GMAT or GRE, we are waiving it when applicants do have 5 years of work experience and a 3.2 GPA or higher. Our average GPA is typically around like 3.4. And we typically won't accept anybody if they fall below a 3.0. But again, going back to, really looking for those candidates who are cooperative, who are team players, and we're going to go out into the world and be a really great team player.
Perfect. Stacy?
So I will kind of echo Simon and Victoria. We do take a very holistic approach in how we are evaluating students. Each of our 3 programs does have different criteria. So with our evening, we actually do not require any work experience. But in looking at that, we may rely a little bit more heavily on GPA, and we do require a resume. So we want to see if there were any type of leadership roles you took in college and things like that. Moving on to those people who, also have 25 years of work experience, we have that as well. We want to see any type of leadership opportunities you've taken. What have you done to grow in your field? The Web MBA does require letters of recommendations. So within that, we are also kind of looking for a lot of teamwork because our Web MBA does have built-in teamwork to its curriculum, which is kind of unique. So we do want to know that you can work in a team environment because that's a big part of it. And then with our executive MBA, they do have an interview process. It is cohort and team-based, so they also are looking at that with a little bit more experience. But overall, we really want to see students who are enthusiastic to grow and learn. And also, kind of to echo what Victoria said, we want to know you're going to be successful in the classroom as well.
So Stacy, share how students could get in touch with you or your team if they're interested in the program.
Absolutely. So our primary website is very simple. It's ksumba.com. That's a great one. And you can go on and sign up for an info session there if you'd like to, hosted by myself and my colleague Samantha Burke. You also are welcome to absolutely send me an email, just ksumba@kennesaw.edu. Very simple. And I know we also will have a chat session later on today.
Great. Victoria?
Sure, absolutely. So we offer regular info sessions for all of our programs, not just on-campus MBA, online MBA, and all of our specialized master's programs. So definitely encourage prospective students to attend one of those. Myself and our other 3 recruitment specialists are more than happy to set up a one-on-one phone call with anybody. You can go online and schedule a specific time that works best for you, or reach out to us and we can schedule a call that way instead. Of course, via email, LinkedIn, any way you want to reach out to us, please feel free to do so.
And at Hopkins Carey School, Jen?
Sure. So if you go to our website, carey.jhu.edu, if you haven't already submitted our form to get connected with us, that will put you in touch with an admissions officer based on the program that you are interested in. So we have dedicated admissions officers specific to the full-time MBA program or the Flex MBA, depending on your interests. You can set up virtual calls with them. Or if you want to email carey.admissions@jhu.edu with any questions. But our website has all the information about upcoming events, both in person and online. And we do have student ambassadors on our website that you can connect with. I highly encourage you, not only current students, but we also have some alumni ambassadors as well.
Yeah, that's always a good way to learn about a program. Simon at Baruch Zicklin.
Yeah, we host a lot of events, webinars, we have live chats, and that's really the best way to keep exploring our programs is just come to our website, Baruch Zicklin. If you Google it, you'll get straight there. And then you can connect with an admissions advisor too, if you would like.
Terrific. Well, Simon, Jen, Victoria, and Stacy, thank you so much for participating. I want to remind everyone that right after this, there's a chat session with UMass Isenberg or Baruch Zicklin. Also, in a little while, actually 45 minutes, we'll be returning to give a deep dive into the MBA programs at each of these schools in a program that we're calling Mapping Your MBA Journey. We'll talk to the program directors. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Thanks for watching our Center Court session.